everybody. Hope you all are doing well. Thank you so much, Trent, for coming on tonight.
Absolutely. I'm glad you asked me.
It was very nice meeting you. What was it? A week? Was it week or 2 weeks ago? Can't remember.
We got to be about 2 weeks
About
now.
2 weeks, right? Yeah,
I
okay,
think
that's
it's
what I
2 weeks of
thought.
the day.
Yep. It was very nice meeting you. I'm glad I didn't get to talk to you much, but I'm very happy that I got to meet you and Jordan.
It was good. Yeah, I'm glad. We saw you a couple times, and I'm glad we finally found a few moments to sit down and talk to you. You've been a good supporter of mine on the channel, so it was
I
fun to meet you in person.
as you know, I don't see very well, so I don't think I actually ended up seeing you until you came over. So I was very happy when you came over and said hello.
Sure.
It was very nice. I know you guys were doing stuff, and I was all over getting things too. But I was also very sad because I know you just finished getting all your stuff set up this week, but
Did
housing all those fish was not going to be all that easy. So I don't. Did you get that much? I don't think you got as much as. Did you?
as
I know you got some stuff, but I didn't think you got a ton of stuff.
so are we talking up at Aquashella?
Yeah, at Aquashella.
Yeah,
Because
I
you
saw.
didn't have them set up yet, right?
So I had a bunch of holding tanks here in this studio, actually. So I had
Okay. So you
all the tanks. So these two tanks behind me had fish in them, but then I had 5 tanks on the floor. They were already holding fish. That's what I needed to get moved down into the fish room, which is what I did yesterday. So at Aquashella, we bought a betta pair, a male and a female betta, and then we mainly picked up coral. I purposely only really wanted to pick up betta fish because I knew I had a tank ready for them.
Wait, you're doing saltwater now?
I've had a little bit of saltwater tanks, yes. So I have off camera. I have a little one here in the studio, and then my wife wanted a new one downstairs, which is why we did a little bit of shopping for coral. So
that's awesome. That's great. I did not realize that you guys were doing a little bit of salt now. That's awesome. Hello, Fish Kid, Patty, Scott, Glitch Aquatics, Cancer Train. Let's see. Who else? Danny, Ian, J Rock. Hello. Hope you all are well. GRB, Rachel Y, Hayden. Hope you guys are doing well. My Fish Tanks. Hello. Hey S, Chris Robertson, I guess Mississippi Hippie, Crown Tail. Hello. Hello, Blake. Only Oscars. Hello. I guess Kenny just ended because everybody's coming on in.
I do believe he was live just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, well, I know he was live because I was in there until like 3 or 4 minutes ago. No, 5 or 6 minutes ago. So I know he was live, but I guess he just ended, which is awesome. But I guess we can start. So can you give me a little bit, because I don't think a lot of people in here have really seen your channel a ton. At least I don't generally see them in there. So can you tell me a little about yourself? Or as much as you're comfortable with?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Trent. We run the channel Weldon Tanks. It's a play off my last name. So my last name is Weldon, and when you hyphenate it, you get well done. So we kind of a pun there. We played off that to start the channel. I've been keeping fish for about 6 years now. My wife got my first fish tank for me our first Christmas of our marriage because she said no snakes. It was absolutely like no snakes. So she got me a fish tank, but I don't think she expected it to turn into the obsession it is now. I've been doing YouTube. I think I'm coming up on my 4th year of doing YouTube. And this is technically my 3rd fish room I've now built. We moved to Texas in July. We were previously living in Utah. I built 2 fish rooms in Utah, each at a different house. We built one, moved, built one, and then we decided to come down here to Texas. And so I'm now in the Houston area of Texas. We moved from out of the Salt Lake area of Utah down into the Houston area of Texas. We've got a 3-year-old daughter who's just a firecracker and fireball. You met her up at Aquashella. She's just,
Yes, I did.
God, that kid loves fish more than I do. But she's been going to fish stores since before she was even born. Like when my wife was pregnant with her, we made a trip up to Washington to go to aquarium co-op. So she's basically grown up in fish stores. But yeah, so we're here now. I just finished my fish room here. That's why these tanks behind me are empty. I moved all the fish down into the new fish room here. So that's kind of where we're at. We've still making this grind, and I love what I do with fish keeping, and we're honestly trying to make something more of it too. We got some goals. We definitely have some goals we want to do with it, and even my wife has kind of got on board too of doing more with the fish keeping. But it all started with the Christmas gift, and 6 years later, it turned into an absolute obsession.
Yeah, I mean, watching a lot of your live streams and videos, it's always fun seeing what you're doing and how your fish room's progressing.
Thank you.
It's been a lot of fun. So thank you so much for coming on tonight.
I'm very happy. I'm happy you messaged me. I'm happy you reached out, and I'm glad we got to do this.
So you've been keeping fish for, you said 6 years now?
Yes. So we can argue back when I was a kid, because I remember my brother had a tank. I remember he would feed hot dog chunks to cichlids in the tank. But I never did anything with it. I think I had a goldfish from a carnival for a while, but it wasn't until my wife bought me like a starter 20-gallon tank, that came with, the LED light hood, the hang on the back filter, the heater, that really turned into, what is this hobby? What is this in store for me? And, we filled it up Christmas Day. The next day went to Petco and bought way too many fish, and they all died. And that's what really started I want to know why the fish died. And then, I learned the ammonia cycle. I learned you can't just fill a tank full of water and chuck fish in. So that's where it started though. It was 6 years ago this Christmas is when my true hobby started. And then after I was in the process of building my first fish room, and a buddy of mine at work was like, "Why don't you have a YouTube channel?" I gave him the excuse of like, "Oh, nobody's gonna watch me. Like, I don't even know what to do." And he's like, "As far as I could tell, you got plenty of tanks." I think I had like 10 tanks stuffed into a bedroom. They were on dressers and stands that shouldn't be stands, and it's kind of where the YouTube channel was born. And then that's turned more into, I want to make better content. Let's learn cameras, let's learn audio. And a few people have commented right now. I did. And right now I have a weird rainbow glitch that happens, and it's frustrating me because I've been trying different settings on my camera. See, if I move too fast, it rainbow glitches.
Oh,
I don't know why.
Weird.
So we're figuring it out though. But it's turned, I would say, fish keeping and YouTube have kind of meshed together, and it's been a good time.
Yeah, well, yeah, it sure does look like it. HG, hello. Especially since this is going on your third fish room. That's awesome.
Or just crazy. I mean,
I'm very a little bit of both. I think we're all a little bit crazy after our third or fourth tank. I think we're all a tad bit crazy, but it's very, very fortunate that my wife keeps letting me do this. We've had a few mishaps along the way, and I'm very fortunate she keeps letting me do this. I think that all the time, Patty. Sorry. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I know she's been really supportive. I know she helped you. What was it, a few weeks ago? With that other tank that you were having on that live stream, the members
Yeah.
only live stream, which I loved.
Yeah, Jordan's helped quite a bit here and there. Back in Utah, we had a website going for a little bit, and she would actually help, take pictures of fish. She would actually help package fish.
Are
So
you guys still? Do you guys still have it up?
I don't. So when we got to Houston, it took a little. Actually, took a couple months to kind of get things back in order.
With you, Patty.
So I was paying money, to hold my domain, and it got to a point that I was losing money on something that I wasn't even sure I was going to do again. So for the time being, while we're getting things prepped again, we just shut the website down. And if we restart it, I want to rebrand it under Weldon Tanks instead of going off a completely different, name that we had under it. So it was kind of a twofold of I wasn't pleased with the name we chose for it, and we just weren't sure if we were going to continue doing it down here until I got the fish room up and running, then wanted to move forward with that. So now that the fish room's up and running, now we're starting to discuss, what's our next business venture with the fish room we want to do.
Yeah, because I know you were with first you were doing it on your. I know you've been breeding for quite a while, and then you were with Peter from Guppy Guru, and then Lewis. So I know you were running in that shop, and then you did another one. I think you were doing a little bit on your own, and then you switched over from that to that new website. So you've been doing quite a bit. It's been awesome.
Yeah. But
the last year,
no longer associated with anything waterfront or any of that though. So
but I mean, that's when I saw you first. Was on the waterfront.
Even
with the waterfront,
even
and
though
then you moved over, I'm just saying you've been hopping all over. It's been awesome watching.
I've been fortunate, and I have to say that even though things ended on very bad terms, I still consider myself fortunate that for a brief moment of time, I was technically an owner of a shop. Like I've seen that side of things, and it's given me kind of an edge up on some stuff. So it was just unfortunate that it ended the way it did. But yeah, we've definitely I had it for the 6 years I've been doing this. I've had an interesting fish career, and I loved every minute of it.
The fish hobby's awesome. It can be a little bit crazy at times, but
do you mind if I answer a couple questions here in the chat?
Yes, I was gonna get to that in a few, but yeah, go ahead. I'd love.
Okay, I mean,
I love it if you did.
You are the boss of the show, so you feel.
No worries. Go ahead. Please answer the questions.
I got Fish Kids asking if you can keep a figure 8 puffer in a 17-gallon long. I would say you could get away with it. Just remember, though, that the figure 8 is going to be brackish. So a lot of people consider them that they can go into fresh, but you're going to need a brackish tank for it. Preferably, I think we're honestly splitting hairs if I say like a 20-gallon long, but I think a 17 single one. The problem I wouldn't recommend those is make sure to test your nitrates because they're going to eat those meaty foods. Meaty foods are going to turn into more proteins in the water. So
that tank right there. Yep. I have that one's brackish. I set that up several months ago.
Is this your mud skipper, right?
Yep. That is. So right there, that's my mud skipper tank. I actually got two more for it. So they're in a 40 paludarium. And yeah, so that's my mud skipper tank. It's awesome because I have one on one side and then one on the other, actually on the filter, which I don't think it's up there right now, but usually it's hanging up on the filter, the Repto filter up there. But yeah, that's the 40 brackish tank that I've got.
That's super cool, man. That's super cool. Why don't I start a get gill shop? Honestly, that is on my list of consideration. So right now, with the fish room going and being in Texas, I have a list of potential ways to take business adventures, and Get Gills is up there. So there's actually another website that I have been invited into, but want to see what I can do there. Best puffer to go into 55 or lower? Dragon puffer would be good there. A Peo ABI, so a ABI puffer, a buy. Peo a buy would be a good one in there. A hairy puffer would go in there well.
Oh yeah.
What else can you find in there?
At Bateson Genetics, I stayed with Bateson because Kenny is the owner of, or is the president of GPass, so I stayed with Tyler Bates in there, and he had a hairy puffer, and he has a bunch of tanks, and he has like a whole garage fish room, and it's awesome. I really
have you I've assumed you've watched the tour I did with Mountaintop Puffer Keeper.
Yes,
because he's working on breeding the hairy puffers right now.
Oh,
and that was some of the cool, like the best footage I've ever gotten of a fish. We got to watch a female, what we believe to be a female hairy puffer, basically tease what we think is a male puffer into a cave, and watching them, expand, blow up at each other and move around. It was just absolutely fascinating. Hairy puffers are fascinating little creatures.
They are pretty cool. I will say they are pretty cool. At first I'm like, where is it? I don't see it in the, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it's over there, because they blend in pretty well too in tanks. They blend in pretty well, and with my vision, I have a little bit of trouble sometimes seeing them. So it took me a few minutes, and then I saw it, and I'm like, oh wow, that's freaky, but also cool looking at the same time.
I have to I want to compliment you of, I respect that you let nothing stop you. Watching you at Aquashella was awesome. You were so animated, so excited to be there, and just you were a blast to talk with. So I'm super happy you're having me here, and I love that you let nothing stop you, and you're moving full forward in this hobby. So kudos, sir. Kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I really do enjoy the hobby. It's nice. I don't see very well. I don't like going out a ton just with my vision and everything. I just, especially in where I live too, the area is, I mean, we're living in a pretty safe area. My only issue is sometimes it can be a little bit hard with overhang and just the traffic is bad. Mm-hmm. But having and I don't drive, but having a little slice of nature in my room. Well, okay, I say a little. I have 9 tanks, so
which is awesome.
A little ish. It's nice having them, and it's been fun, especially during quarantine. It's been amazing. But yeah, no, I mean it's a rewarding hobby. Especially, I want to get to where you are, where you've got so many breeding projects. Sometimes it's hard keeping up with all the things you're doing in that fish. Yep. When you get it going, I was like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, my last fish room was, what was it, 54 square feet, and I had 30 tanks in there.
Well, I know, I'm glad you didn't, But I know when you were planning out this fish room, you're like, should I put that tank there? Should I not? Should I put? I'm like,
Yes.
oh, that's gonna be a tad bit tight.
I thought of that last night actually as I was moving fish into the fish room. Is I'm glad that you, along with everybody else, is like, don't do it, because I was gonna put a 55-gallon in the center of my fish room that I have right now, and everyone, including Kevin, was like, don't do it. We were in a members live stream, so he's just like, don't do it. It's gonna be way too tight.
Don't
Sure
do it.
enough,
Don't do it.
as I
Don't
was
do
moving fish in there, I realized I had
It's
buckets
really
and step stools lining the center of the room today. So, yeah, it would have been horrible if I had that tank there.
it's just, I mean, I know your last fish room, you were saying you also had a little bit of trouble, and you were glad that you had a little bit bigger fish room, or I think this space is a little bit bigger, right? You said
Yes. So the
so.
last fish room was what was it? What's 54 square feet? Like 9. It was like 7 by 8 or something. 7 by 8. 56 square feet. So it was 7 by 8. This one is. So it was 7 by 8. This one's 9 by 11. So 9 feet wide, 11 feet long. So I gained a little room both ways, but that extra few footage, it's so nice to actually. The
It
last
makes a
fish room,
difference, doesn't it?
you had to like side skirt into it, and then you could just stand in the center and just turn, like you just had to shuffle. I can actually walk into this one and I can stick my arms out, and like I'm not bumping into tanks. I'm not like I when I would climb up on step stools in my last one, it was terrifying. Like if I fall right now, like I'm dead. Like there's nothing behind me but tanks. So I feel like I have a little bit more safety space in this one.
Yeah, that's why I was so happy when you said, "Yeah, I'm not gonna put that in." I'm like, "Okay, good, thank you." I was like, "That's gonna be tight. That's
But
gonna be
now,
pretty tight." But
now
I'm
that
glad
all the
the way
fish are down there, I do plan on filming a full tour now that everything's down there and set up and it's
yes,
running
awesome.
operational.
I can't wait for that. That'll be awesome. I love watching. I've loved watching the progression of the room. It's been
Thank
a
you.
lot of fun.
Thank you.
Um, no, thanks for filming it, and thanks for doing it and taking us along for the ride. I really do appreciate it. So, what's your favorite fish species or aquatic animal?
So
I
it's so
know that's a
cliche
really
now. Like,
hard.
everybody's gonna think I say this for like a okay. So I love pufferfish species, and it wasn't like I got a Mubu puffer from Aquarium Co-op. Unfortunately, I don't have that fish anymore. But there's something about now that I've kept a Mabu, a Fahaka, an orange ABI, P puffers, Amazon puffers. I had a hairy puffer for a minute. Like now that I've kept them, they're difficult in the way of I feel they need to be housed in a solo like they're not built to be a community fish. But when you have even just a little itty bitty pea puffer like run up to the glass and challenge you, it's so exciting. I think so. Like Pufferfish just brings something so unique to the hobby. But they're hard. Like they're not difficult to keep by safe, but they're hard to keep in the way of you want to put more fish in a tank than just, a puffer fish. And I've done it, but I've also had very bad results with it. So, but puffers are something else. Like I would say the close second is I really have a soft spot for flower horns. Like I really do have a soft
Oh,
spot for flower horns. I just again kind of that way of like I had a flower horn back in Utah that you could tease it with your finger above water and it would jump out of the water and try and latch onto your finger. And it's just I think flower horns are just so I would say the absolute first is pufferfish. And there's even brackish species I really want to keep now. I just don't want to do brackish water. Like that's the hard part. I want to keep them. I just don't want to do a brackish water tank. I'm lazy that way.
I honestly, I kind of want to do salt. I met Queen of Reefs at
Mhm.
Aquashella, and so I was talking to her, and she made it sound like it wasn't that difficult to do it. And then talking to her, she's like, "Yeah, you need to do this." And even just picking out a tank, I'm like, "Okay, I don't think I'm gonna do saltwater, but brackish I'll do because brackish they are more hardy, which
Mhm.
is good. I mean, with salinity and stuff, they are more hardy than saltwater. I don't know if I want to get into saltwater anytime soon. I don't know if I want to dive into that yet, but brackish, I think I can do. But it is a little bit more of a pain having to do having to add the salt and getting it to that specific salinity.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more complex, but it's still fun. Although I will say having the mud skipper is nice because it gives me a little bit of leeway.
Well, mud skippers are just hilarious to watch too.
They well now that I have three in there, and it's a lot nicer because I can actually see them going around and actually out and about. And usually, like, I just got them a few like yesterday, but they're out. I see them and I'm like, oh, they're out and they're about, yay! But like before, I never saw them, so it's kind of nice. Well, once in a while I saw them, but it
Right.
is
Right.
nice. Night HG Aquatics. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. I do want to do puffers, but as you said, it's hard keeping for me killifish, puffers, killifish and puffers, and sometimes bettas can be kind of hard because you want a little bit of a bigger tank.
Hmm.
And it's also hard because I also know that I have to keep them by themselves and
Right.
a species only. And I'm like, do I really want to keep a dedicated tank for them, especially with the limited space I have? Maybe not. Like I
I
have.
I get it.
Um, what is your dream tank? If you could have whatever tank you wanted, what would be your dream tank?
I mean, I so when we got down here, I there was a shop down the road. They were selling a 300 gallon a tank, and it was so hard to be like, hey, wife, like let's buy this 300 gallon tank. Like let's get another Mabu puffer. And um, I mean, if I could just do it, like I would love to have another Mabu puffer in my life and to have that opportunity again. But a dream tank, like one that I've pictured in my mind a few times. I just don't think I don't know if I'll ever do it. Is like to have like a 10-foot tank with the Mabu puffer would be just insane. But like an 8-foot, 10-foot tank long by like 3 feet wide, but then with the massive colony of geophagus in there would just be
Oh,
mind blowing. Like just to have like 50 geos in there, watching them turn the substrate and watching them interact. Like that's actually probably like my third favorite fish. I have to say is like geophagus are just one of the coolest fish to watch. Um, so I mean, like I say, as much as cool as it would be to have that big Mabu puffer tank, but to have a long tank with a horde of geophagus in it would just be amazing. Would be so cool to do.
that yeah, no, that would well just having a school of like anything. It's it's very fun watching them and watching the like just them schooling in that behavior, especially if you have a ton of
Mm-hmm.
them in a tank. Oh, that would be awesome. So, do you have any other animals besides fish?
Yeah, so we have 2 dogs, and then right now we currently have 2 guinea pigs as well. So my wife and daughter wanted guinea pigs, and I got outvoted on them. And so when we got them, I told the wife, I'm like, you're taking care of the guinea pigs, and they're cute as all get out. But unfortunately, I found out that if I hold them, I'm pretty allergic to them. So they're fun and they're cute. They're hilarious to listen to. But so we got 2 dogs, 2 guinea pigs, and if I let my wife, I'm sure we'd have a whole petting zoo in the backyard, of course. But not where we're at right now.
Oh, come on. Why not? That would be fun. No, but yeah, that would be a lot though. But that's cool. I was like, why for now you have guinea pigs? You're like, we got guinea pigs for now. I'm like, what was that? What oh, okay, got it. I love that. Do you have any other hobbies?
I mean, I game occasionally. So I have a PS5 finally arriving tomorrow. Actually, so I'm super excited for that. I changed. I let down the master race of Xbox and I changed over to PS5 so I could play with my brother-in-law back home. So I game a little bit on the side, but hobbies have just it's really just evolved around fish and content creation of how can I better, because right now I'm really enjoying trying ways to better my content. Let's try this audio, let's try this lighting, but it's also on the post end when I'm editing the videos. I'm really enjoying learning more about Adobe Premiere and following tutorials on YouTube. So I would say, like, a sick and twisted way, another hobby has turned into content creation, because I do a little bit of content creation for work, and when it's a different subject than fish, I've had a lot of fun building that content, because I do like 60-second TikTok videos or Instagram videos, Facebook videos, and so I have to come up with a way to, how do I film this that's not fish and make it a solid 60-second video for the company. So that's been fun. So I guess a sick and twisted way is, like, editing has become my next hobby.
That's awesome. So luckily, I don't have to worry about editing because
I'm sorry. Can I respond to a comment here?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure it's clear. I apologize if I'm coming off. I do not mean to come off rude. I see a comment that Trent is a big sniffer. So I actually have Tourette syndrome. So part of you're going to hear me make fun noises. It's just who I am. So when you hear me sniff, clear my throat, I have Tourette's, and I only swear because I want to, or I'm angry. I don't have the fun side of Tourette's, but yeah. So if you hear me sniffing and stuff, I honestly don't recognize I'm doing it. So if you have headphones in, I apologize. You're going to lose a couple of decibels tonight, but you're going to hear me. It's just, it's my Tourette's. Nothing I can do about it.
I was really actually surprised I didn't hear you there that much. I know you were so excited that you were there.
When I'm having a good time, it goes down. It doesn't go away, but it goes down. And I'm definitely enjoying my time here. And so I know it's hard, but I did not want to come across rude at all. I just like to. My wife always tells you, like, hey, you just got to put it out there. You just got to put it out there. And I have to remember myself, like, a lot of people are probably wearing like AirPods or earbuds, and all of a sudden they're going to hear this, this random noise. Like, what the F is that? Like, what the hell? So.
Hello, Kenny. Hello, hello, Rico. I know that you also don't notice it too, because you're, of course, it's like you're just doing it, and so I know you don't notice it, and I kind of understand that too, where it is a little bit difficult sometimes because you don't always notice you're doing it either. Mm-hmm. You just do it, and then when somebody tells you, like, oh yeah, can't help it, but yeah, that does happen.
So sorry to interrupt your regular scheduled program. back to the
No
fun
worries.
talk.
But of course, so as we were you were talking about just a minute ago, I was really upset with myself um, because I actually got a gimbal
Mm-hmm.
because I was staying with Tyler Bateson, and he had one, and so I used his for a little while I was there, and so I got one for specifically for fish for Aquashella Dallas,
Yeah.
and of course a little before like I got it, I had it for like a few days and I'd used it before, so it wasn't like I needed to learn how to use it. And then I lost this piece. And I'm like, crap. So I couldn't
Yep.
use it. And it was actually better because I didn't film. And so I was just, well, actually, it was better and worse. It would have been nice if I could have filmed because then I probably
Right.
wouldn't have gotten so many things. But it was still fun to be able to experience it because as it is, I don't see very well. So filming and having him around, that was fun at Fishtoberfest because I did do that some. Not as much as I know some were hoping, but I was very happy. Dallas, I just was like going around walking and I'm like, okay, I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
I'm just look, and so many other people were streaming. I'm like, okay, great.
I know I did a random live stream there. I had to remember to film because I was my first Aquashella. So I was just having fun taking it all
Yep,
in
me
and
too.
just enjoying it.
I told Lori next year the two of us need to do it. Posiwi um, was the one that came with me. She's in a wheelchair, but she came with me. She picked me up from the airport and she stayed with me. And we went around and that was fun. But her and I were like, next year we need to do it again because I think that's the one maybe I kind of would like to do. Florida, I don't think I'd want to do. I don't know if I'd want to do Chicago, but it would be kind of cool to go to Florida. But I really like Dallas one, and you're pretty close, so you've got no excuse.
Yeah, it was 4 hours, which was it was nice. We made it a fun weekend trip and I liked it that it was close enough that my wife felt comfortable coming up with me because at first it was just going to be me.
Oh,
But I'm glad I'm glad she came up there.
it
I'm
was nice. It
glad.
was nice meeting her. I
Thank you.
enjoyed meeting
You
her.
know, it was fun having our daughter there. So it's good times because I do eventually want to get over to
Question.
Orlando. I have a standing invitation from Wild Fish Tanks. If I ever get over there, he'll take me collecting, and I would love to go do that.
That
So
that would be fun. Yeah,
that's
that's one
there.
thing that I like to do.
I just
I'm
got to
like
get over there.
I'm like to my brother and my parents. I'm like, you guys can go to Disney World. I'd much rather go collecting and go hang out there because I don't know. For me, I don't like the rides and stuff. Like I'm like I'd rather I kind of rather. Hey, I'll go over to George's house while you guys go to Disneyland. Like you and Tom, my dad and my brother wanted to go to Disneyland, so we went a while ago. Um,
Okay.
a few months ago, and I'm like, you guys can go there. I'll go to George's. I spent like 3 hours filming, and I had so I'm like, it's been 3 hours, really? But yeah, it it's fun being able to go do those kinds of things, and collecting would be awesome. Although, I'd more be looking and not necessarily collecting because they would be going way too quick for me. As it is in my tanks, it's hard enough to catch them. Out in the wild, that would be even worse.
Hey, you got a bigger net though. You can't like that's the way I look at it is
Of course, you've got a bigger net, but it's all huge. I mean, proportionately, it's even bigger. Unless you got like a casting net, proportionately, it's. I mean, that area it's a lot bigger than your tank. And I already have trouble getting them in my tanks.
Look at that, man. You pulled in
Oh,
Joey into your chat.
please. No. Great. Hey, Joey. Hope you're well.
That was actually, I'm glad I got, I don't know if you got to meet him there, but I'm actually super glad I got to see Joey in person there.
I actually was not able to talk to Joey a ton. Well, okay, I talked to him a little bit at Aquashella, but after when all of the YouTubers and stuff went to, I want to say it was Pensacola Brewery.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got to talk to him more there.
That's
Him
cool.
and Taylor, and so I got to talk to them there, which was fun.
That's cool.
But I hope you're doing well, Joey. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. There were a lot of people that I really enjoyed meeting because it was my first one.
Okay.
And it was a lot of, I mean, Aquashella, this was my first one going to, and I honestly thought it would be louder than it was, but I had so much fun there. It was great.
I'm glad you came up. I honestly
really
thought that this was not your first show, to be honest with you. So
No, this was
cool.
That was my first show, and I had a blast. But yeah, it was my first show. I was a little bit worried about getting in, but it was great. It actually went smoothly, which was surprising. I thought I'd have a few more issues getting there and coming home, but it actually went pretty well. Okay, so for breeding, do you have any advice on how on breeding fish?
Like in a general scope of just fish,
just breeding in general.
So yes, I call him my puffer sensei. Mountaintop Puffer Keeper gave me probably the best advice I have ever heard on breeding fish. And now this comes from a guy who literally has, what are they now, Matt? 26-day-old, 27-day-old baby puffer fish right now from his own breeding.
Oh my gosh.
His advice was as simple as make the fish happy. And however you want to take that. So that's why I think there was a question, if I can kind of turn around to it, was what have I learned from past fish rooms that I implemented into this fish room is Matt's tanks, they're natural. They have substrate, they have plants, they have rocks. In my last fish room, so many tanks were just bare. Like I had a 33-gallon long with my L199 yellow zebra colony. It was bare bottom, and I just had caves in there, nothing else. Where in this fish room, I have a 40 breeder right now with my Wappenmuster plecos in there, and I have driftwood and a little bit of substrate, tons of caves and plants. So the big difference in this fish room is I'm using nature to let nature do its thing. Instead of having, granted, Dean, we could all learn a ton from Dean, but you have to find your own way to breed fish. And my advice now is make the fish happy, and that give them the environment they're going to be happy in. Give them some wood, give them some plants. Then you got to plump them up and you got to condition them. So many people, I'm sure you've heard the phrase, don't overfeed your fish. Like I let somebody watch my fish and they overfed my fish and they killed my fish. Like there's a difference of dumping in an entire can to there's a difference of I'm feeding because I want there to be extra food in the tank so the parents know there's food in the tank.
Well, and so that's what was funny for me because one of my good friends that I talk to all the time, Petraman, does a lot of. He doesn't have a lot of fish, but he does discus.
Okay.
He has discus, and his tanks are awesome. but he only does discus.
Mhm.
And it's funny because I always laugh because he literally is upset that they're trying to breed.
Mhm.
Like they're laying eggs like every week for him. And
They're happy.
he doesn't want that right now because he's working. And I'm like, come on, what do you expect? You feed them, you buy a pound of live flatworms every week for your 12 discus, and
Mhm.
they are big and plump. They look amazing. But and they're only like 8 months old. He got them in like February, and they're already breeding. And I'm like, and what do you expect? You're feeding them a pound of blackworms a week, and you're feeding it to everything, and you feed them like 3 or 4 times a day. Of course, they're happy. They're enjoying because especially breeding too. You need to plump them up because
Mhm.
especially the mothers, they do lose weight while
Oh,
because
for
they don't
sure.
always eat. And so getting them plump and making sure that they have enough food first is good so that they can breed. And also if like live baby brine shrimp. I love live baby brine shrimp because when I have live baby brine shrimp, they know, okay, there's enough food, there's live food, I can breed now. And that a lot of times that does help stimulate breeding, and it's awesome because they love it and they know, okay, there's enough food around, I can start breeding.
Yep. Yeah. So today I went up and met Blake. He's hanging out in the chat here, up in Dallas today. And I picked up some stir-by cories from him. And
Nice.
when we got him home, I got him in the tank. I let him sit for about an hour, and then I immediately went to my peanut beetle culture, and I picked out 100 or so larvae and went and immediately put them into the stir-by tank in hopes that, okay, I know they're stressed from the move down here. They've gotten to their new tank, but I already have, seasoned driftwood in there. Again, thanks to Blake. And, I have a seasoned sponge filter in there. I have seasoned, pearlweed in there. But then I wanted to add that live food in there so they know from day one there's seasoned items in this tank and like hopefully get these things. They're plump, they're fat stir-by cories. So I really want
That's
to breed these things.
awesome.
And so yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
keep fish happy, make them happy, and they'll breed.
Well, that's why, I mean, I'm not going to get into it here, but it's always fun talking with you, especially in chat. I wish I could talk to you more about it, but like, because for me, breeding, like for me, I like when I see them breeding because in my mind, I know they're happy. When they're breeding, I know they're happy in the tank and
Mm-hmm.
they're happy with their environment. That's me. That when I see them breeding, I'm like, okay, I'm doing something right. They're breeding, they're
Yes.
happy.
Yes.
And I really do enjoy that. Um, what advice would you have for someone getting into the hobby?
Do your own thing. Like how many? So I have left all but like 2 Facebook groups because I got tired of
You still have two?
somebody would post up their tank and it's the 10-gallon tank, or will be nice. Let's say it's a 20-gallon tank, but they have the clown color puke gravel, they have the fake plant, and they have the random decor over in the corner, and they post it and go, look at my creation, look what I did. And
It just
all of the comments are, why do you have that gravel? That you can't put cories on that gravel. Like, why do you have fake plants? Get real plants. Like, what do you even know? And it's like, it's not like, why can't you just be happy that this person is keeping fish alive in a glass box? Like, let them be happy. So because I've built my first fish room was all display tanks. I had no intention of breeding anything. I just wanted to keep super cool fish and show them off.
oh,
So I would 100% say do your own thing. And I have an idea in my mind to almost prove this point. I want to set up a tank of like quote unquote trash, like a beer bottle in this corner, like a can in this corner, just random things I can find to prove I can keep fishing this because fish can be happy. But like, so what's the difference of if somebody's keeping something that they're so proud of? Let them if clown puke color gravel makes you happy, damn it, do that gravel. Like, if keeping guppies makes you happy, like keep guppies.
As
That's my
Hey,
advice to people
what's wrong
starting
with
a hobby.
guppies? What's wrong with guppies? As long as they get you into the hobby, it's great.
If you want to keep monster fish, if you want to keep nano fish, just do what you want to do. I hate it when people tear people down of you're not keeping a naturalistic tank. Who cares? Let them be happy. Like let them do their thing. And so that's because it's so hard to, you get on YouTube and you see everything. Like I'm guilty of it, right? But it's, if you can help this person understand of, if that makes you happy, that's what you should do. And that's what I always try to, like, I just put out an air pump video, and I'm in my fish room, right? I'm in my fish room I built, but not everybody has the space to do that. But like, look at yourself. Like, you've got 9 tanks in your bedroom. Like, you've surrounded yourself by what makes you happy. And that's what matters.
I have 9 tanks, and my room is kind of a mess all the time because I literally have nowhere to put anything else. I have all my supplies, but I have nowhere to put them because I've got like literally all my storage space. I've got tanks on everywhere. So I mean, I do what I need to keep my fish in. As long as I'm happy with the tanks, I have my bed there. I'm good. I'm happy. What was your most difficult experience keeping aquariums?
When my 220-gallon aquarium broke, like popped a seam, blew apart, and I was working. So this is back in Utah. This was, how many years ago? For 2 years, almost 4 years ago, I think. No, 3 years ago, between 3-4 years ago. Some time frame ago, I was working night shift at my old job, and my wife called me at like 1 a.m, and she's like, "Your tank exploded and the basement's flooding. What do I do?" So I had to, I previously worked law enforcement, so it was a very difficult thing of like, I couldn't just anyway, I got out of work, sped home, and I was at 45 minutes to an hour away. And I remember going down the basement steps, and as soon as I hit the bottom, water just sploosh. And it was the first time in my fish keeping hobby that I literally just, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what, like, my mind just froze. Like, what do I do? What do I say? I just ruined it was $500 in damage it did to the basement. And so like, how do you tell your wife, like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I just flooded the basement." At the same time, I had her just unplug everything. So I'm now trying to net out my Mabu puffer, my Corys, my Geos, and like, what do I put these things? It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's, what do I do? Where do I put things? And it was just, it was a nightmare that I never want to put on anybody. It was so bad. But then to like, right then and there, I remember turning to her too. I was like, "I'll get rid of everything." And, the fact that she still supports me in this is definitely something. So it was to flood a basement kind of twice. I flooded my last house too, an accident, but You know, but the tank breaking was the most difficult thing and just devastating thing I've ever had because that tank was my pride and joy. And it just kind of, yeah, it was rough. That was bad. I can't, I can't hear you, Kevin.
No, you're fine. You hear me
You're
now?
super muted.
You hear me better now?
Yes, I can.
I apologize. My computer's default mic on my computer is crap. My two cameras actually have better mics. However, whenever I do it on my whenever my cameras disconnect from my computer, which happens way too often because I've got a Mac and USB-C, it defaults back to my
You're good.
default mic. So I
I say
apologize.
technology's great until it doesn't work.
Yes. So I was going to ask, or I was going to say, um, I bought I spent way too much because I got a Python
Mm-hmm.
and I got it all set up, and then I got quick connect valves, or not quick connect valves, but I got quick connects so that I could easily attach and detach my Python from outside to drain and fill my tanks.
That's very smart.
So I got quick connects. Only problem is I didn't do the best job of connecting them. So of course the first time I used it, I started using it and I didn't realize that because it's outside, so I have to go a decent trek to go over to go turn it on and off. And so I'm always worried about overflowing because I accidentally did, and I didn't realize. So it was going all over the floor. I'm like, great, that's awesome.
If you don't flood something at least once, you're not a true fish keeper.
Sure,
It's an
sure.
unfortunate accident that's gonna happen.
Except I have hardwood floors,
Yep.
so that's always fun. But yeah, flooding the floor is always fun. I do that a little bit too often at times. Okay, let's. So what beside so for breeding, what is your? I'm assuming that breeding in general is fun for you, but what is your the best aspect of fish keeping, and then what's your worst?
The worst is the absolute rabbit hole you can go down into. Like the worst is, I would say the worst is when we get into those moments of not being content with what we have. And I guarantee my wife is laughing right now because I am super guilty about that. Of I always want more. I always want the next thing. But the best part of it is and this was a huge thing for me before I came down to Texas, is my fish room became a place of literal peace and zen. I was going through the most trying time of my life. And that's why I've made a few comments here in the comment
Why?
section of I'm not associated with certain people anymore and just work things. So the easiest way for me to say this with honestly is without getting in trouble of any nature is on a personal level. I was going through the hardest time of my life in that, and then on the work level, I was going through the most difficult thing there too. So you combine the two, and it got to a point that I was depressed. Like I was super depressed, and like I'm not that way. So to be able to go into the fish room and just be like, the joke is, I remember I would tell people I joke with my fish of like, oh, do you eat sushi? Yeah, I love sushi, and I threaten my fish, if you don't breed, you're next. And so to be able to go into a fish room and it's not a god complex, but it's the complex of I I did this. Like, look at that fish. Like, look how it's interacting with this driftwood. Like, somebody made a comment of when I first saw that my Molowi crebensis had fry. The aspect of the mental health of the whatever switches off my brain when I'm in my fish room and I'm just there. There's nothing else out in the world. Like, I don't know if you've watched Fast and the Furious, but I live my life a quarter mile at a time. And for those 10 seconds, I'm free. When I'm in the fish room, I'm free. I'm not running for my family. I'm not trying to put them on the back end, but I'm just there, and then when you see baby fish and my reaction, I'm so happy I caught it on camera. My reaction to seeing the Molowi crebensis for the first time is that level of like, just, I did this, like nobody panic. Get the baby brine shrimp ready. Get the breeder net ready. Like, we've got baby fish. We got to do something. Just, is so exciting to me. So the top two things are the peace it brings, and then that when you've been working so hard for something, you've been feeding the foods, been doing your water changes, and then you see the success come from that. It's exciting, and it's riveting, and just, it's so much fun to see that. So I hope that answered your question. Like, I can get long-winded, as you can tell, when I get excited about talking about something.
I appreciate it. So thank you. I really appreciate it. And you're coming in, you are willing to do this with me and come up. So I really appreciate it. And thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule.
I'm glad to be here
to do it. So
it's too bad. It's too bad that Ricky can't stick around and learn that I have Tourette's still. So bye, Ricky. But go on. No, I really appreciate you bringing me on here, because it's, for someone to invite another individual onto their stream, there is a level of trust there. There's a level there of, you feel that they're a good person. Like, that's how I view, like, don't get me wrong, I think most people in this hobby are great people. But when you open up your channel, that's something that you have worked on, there's a level of trust there. So I appreciate you thinking that I was like worthy enough, like trustworthy enough to be on here. I really do appreciate you having me on here.
I really enjoy watching your videos, and I was very happy when I got to meet you finally at Aqua Shelly Dallas. And so after, I'm like, okay, I need to message him, because I've been wanting to have you on. And so I'm like, okay, I need to message him and see if he's available. Let's see when I can make this happen.
I'm glad you did. I appreciate it.
I was really excited. I was really happy when you said yes, you could do it today. I'm like, okay, good, let's do it. So thank you.
Of course.
It's. I love the fish community, and I really enjoy seeing all of the videos you've made, and I'm really excited to see. I'm really excited to see how this fish room turns out, because I know with the tanks you've got, you're gonna have quite a bit going on.
I don't know if you also know me. I like to I go through like versions, so I know in my goal is to stick with this version as long as I can. So my wife would always tease me on my last fishery. She's like, "You're changing things, every week." It's like, I know. So
Yep.
we'll see what changes come. But right now, I will say this: yesterday, when I got done moving all the fish down there, I had a moment of I just kind of stopped and I looked around, and it was this accomplishment of I built this, and this by far to date is my best fish room yet. Just 100%. Man, that's my opinion, right? It's just my opinion, but
Of course.
I look around and just like Kevin, I look at your tanks behind you and I see plants and I see life, and I was missing that. Like I feel that I was just missing that. I saw my baby Turkana jewels picking at the driftwood, picking the organisms off the driftwood, the paramecium growing on driftwood. And like I had been missing that, because I kept just bare bottom tanks. So
Well, so for breeding, I understand. Sometimes you do want bare bottom, but other times, like especially for fry, it's really nice when you've got, which sometimes it's hard, but when you have a well-seasoned tank, it's amazing for fry because there's so many microorganisms you can't see. And so when it's an ecosystem, they can just go picking through it all.
Mhm.
And it's amazing to watch. Like one of the things that if I did I really want discus. And I know they're one of the harder fish a lot of times to keep. Especially for
We'll debate that later, but go on.
I know. But one of the things that I like is, I mean, when a lot of times when I see it, I don't see in an actual, like it's usually pretty sterile, and I'm like, I like seeing, I like having plants and stuff. That's why I'm actually a little bit annoyed with the brackish tank because I love my brackish tank. I also don't feel that there's enough life in there because I really like having plants. I
Did you
really like that. And it's
speak?
also nice having plants because it helps filter the tank.
Yes. Speaking of brackish and plants, I'm sorry. Have you? I'm sure you know who he is. Have you? Do you watch Tazawa Tanks?
I got the mud skippers from him. I
Okay,
live like
awesome.
45
That's super
minutes
cool.
away from him, and I just got them
Okay,
yesterday from him. I just got
that's
two more
super
yesterday
cool.
from him.
Is he as big in person as he is on camera?
He's big and buff.
So I'm sorry.
Yes.
I honestly I had a point to this. If you go back in his channel, that's super cool. He did an experiment. I think he put Anubias into a planet. I could be wrong in the plant, but he put one into his brackish up on the land portion, but then would mist it down daily with water that had the Easy Green from Aquarium Co-op mixed into it. So he was fertilizing the plant without it being submerged. It was a really interesting experiment, and I wonder if you could replicate that same thing with your mud skippers.
So I like that you mentioned that because I, as I said, I got them from him several months ago. But I like having plants in there because it makes my life a little bit easier. B, I
Mm-hmm.
like seeing the life in there, and having those plants in my mind really helps with that. I actually was talking to him about it because I like having plants. I'm not That's not my main focus. My main focus is the fish and I like having the plants, but they are I do really enjoy having plants. It was fun. It was funny because I was actually talking to him on that exact thing. On Because I've talked to some other people about it, and I'm like, I wonder how I can do it because I like plants, I like seeing the plants in there. So how can I incorporate plants into my tank? And we were talking about it, and I think I haven't done it yet, but I'm pretty sure that's what I'm gonna do.
I wonder if the salinity would be high enough to allow some of the macro algae to grow in there. The salt, like the full saltwater reef keepers use. I wonder if you could get away with that.
You might be able. If especially if you have your brackish water. I'm thinking if you have your brackish water tank borderline brackish, or the higher spectrum of brackish, the low spectrum of salt, that probably would work.
Man, you just talked me into potentially starting a brackish tank so I could test this theory.
I'd say sorry, but I'd love to see you dabbling a little bit of brackish. So can't really say that. Otherwise, I would. But it would be fun to see you try a little bit of brackish. But yeah, I really like having some plants and some more stuff in there. It was funny because I know they know, but when I got the mud skipper, I was actually not planning on getting it. It was more of an impulse buy, surprise, surprise. But I knew I could keep it pretty well from what he said, from the way he told me to take care of it. So I got him, and I didn't end up bidding on him because I talked to him a little bit about how to keep them during I guess the break of when the bidding was going on. And then once I talked to him about it, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get them now. But I was waiting to talk to him about how to keep them because I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't planning on getting them, but they're a good price, and I like the look of them, so I think I'm gonna get them. And so I actually had them in the 20 for a little, and I converted that tank into a brackish tank, and then I put them in the 40. But I didn't have a ton in that tank originally, right. And just seeing the behavior of him and seeing how they hide and how they behave with some decor and how they are especially with the plants too. It's awesome to watch, and I love having the brackish tank.
It sounds like it says as long as you're having fun with it, that's what matters. 100%.
Yes, and I was happy because I knew that, especially originally, I'm like, okay, it looks cool. Can I keep it? My main worry was I don't know if I can keep it the best because, again, I didn't know much about them. But when I talked to him about it, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I think I can start out here, and then I can do more research after I get it. So I did do more research after, and it's been a blast having them. I'm very happy. But yeah, no, because, I mean, I had them in that tank. I'm like, okay, that's too small. And then I just put them in a bigger tank. But I'm like, first I did want to do, because I'm like, okay, brackish. Let's see if I can do it well. And then once I got that ready, I'm like, okay, I can do that tank. It is a smaller tank. Let's see if I can do that one because it's bigger.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But yeah, I don't know how much time you have, but thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I can realistically probably go for another 5-10 minutes.
No worries. And then usually I just open it up to panel or to a few other people that want to come up. So I'll do that after. But thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
I'm glad I'm here. This has been a lot of fun interacting with you, with yourself and the community you've built. It's been very fun interacting this way.
It's been really fun watching all of the stuff you've done with your tanks and with your 2 fish rooms and seeing everything. I've really been enjoying it. So thank you.
Glad someone is enjoying it.
I like your content and I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it.
Okay, that is funny, Jesse. Yeah, I mean, when they're aquatic, and it was funny because I forget who else I was talking to. It's the same as like I think it was Roundhouse actually. I was talking to him because
Mm-hmm.
we were debating whether I'm like because Daphnia and brine shrimp. I'm like, they're live bearing, right? Because technically, I mean, they are because you got the cysts for brine shrimp. So if their conditions aren't totally correct, they will lay eggs.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, generally, if the conditions are correct, they're most of the time they're live bearing, and so
When
it's
they're happy.
when they're happy, they're live bearing. When the conditions aren't quite as right, they want to wait for the conditions to get better, and they will breed, and then they will hatch.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting how different fish and how they adapt because they really do adapt, and it's amazing to see.
Yep, that's one of the next videos I got to film. Actually, is that I think you were in my live stream last week, and I made a comment about RO units. So I have a whole video planned out now
Yes.
about that.
Do you do RO?
So no. So the easy answer to that is no. I do not do RO on any of my freshwater tanks.
Oh, why?
I have an RO system mainly because when Marine Depot got bought out by Bulk Reef Supply, they were like 70% off. So it was pennies on the dollar to buy one. And
When
because
was
I
this?
have 2.5 months ago, almost 3 months ago.
Oh, I did not. Oh, wow. That's
So
awesome.
yeah, Bulk Reef Supply bought out Marine Depot. So now that I have 2 reef tanks in the house, I wanted an RO unit to make my own RO water, so I wouldn't have to go pick all that from it. But my video is going to be focusing on the freshwater side and that nature, and really how fish adapt. Like it's quite incredible that
Well,
fish
and
will
so
adapt.
that's what's always fun, like with your videos, or not with your videos, because I know we've gone down the rabbit hole, and I really enjoy talking with you in the streams because one of the things you say is as long as it's consistent and you convert them, what's considered happy, and and the way you keep fish is I really enjoy. There are different
Thank you.
ways, and I really like the way you keep fish and um, the way you have them set up. I know that you are changing that a little bit because you're actually you're putting some plants and stuff in the tanks, which I'm happy to hear. So that'll be nice. But
I had plants in my last fisher. Come on, dog. It wasn't like,
okay,
but it wasn't anything of what I have now. Like you're a super fish nerd. So we went to a client's house. You may have saw my post, but I went to a client's house for work, and he had a mini pond out in his backyard, and we're talking pounds, like a 50-gallon. I'm calling it a mini pond.
I did see that
of pearlweed, like pounds
that.
upon pounds of pearlweed, and he gave me some for free when I asked about it, and I got enough that every tank in the fish room now has pearlweed in it, and like that, the amount of life that brought to the tanks was astronomically amazing. It was just so cool to see. So I agree with you that more plants are going in. I have a big plant order actually landing at the fish store this week to get like a plant for profit tank started, to get crypts into tanks, and just I'm no longer going to breed angelfish in just a bare bottom tank. I'm going to breed them. They have substrate, they have floating plants, they have other plants going into that tank. So it just feels so much more now. It just feels better to me. I like it so much more. I have a much more fun time with it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I will say maintenance at time can be a little bit. I mean, some people say maintenance can be a little bit more difficult because it's not bare bottom, and a lot of people like bare bottom because you can really get in there and suck up all of that mold and debris. But when you have a planted tank, it's nice because the plants do a decent amount of the work for you.
Which is
Which I
another
like.
video, like another video I want to make of. I've been that guy of bare bottom tanks, and I've also been that guy with substrate and plants. And now that I've really experienced a lot of that, because I know me and you talked of, I no longer have auto water change, and
Yes.
I did my first water change in the fish room the other night, and it wasn't bad. So
I I think I mean, sorry to cut you off, but as Kenny
no, I
said,
mean,
like as long as you have a system, it's great.
mm-hmm.
If you have a system on how to do it, because then you can. I know the reason why you took away your auto water change system because a lot of people wish they could have an auto water change system, but I know
Mm-hmm.
the reason why you took it away was because you're not as interactive with the tanks and you don't observe them quite as much when it's on the auto water change system.
You flip a valve and you walk away. Now, I mean, one day if I get the size of the fish warehouse that I want to, we'll probably look into auto water change at that point. But like, yeah, I'm really excited to watch nature happen in my breeding tanks right now. I'm super happy to watch that. But
Yeah. I
do you mind if I answer a question from J Rock?
um yeah, go
So
right
he's
ahead.
asking, when moving fish out of quarantine, how many do you move at a time, and how long do you wait till you move another group in? So Jay, if I'm understanding it correctly here, so if I'm moving fish out of quarantine, that means I had a group of fish that were in quarantine. They're now going to another tank. So I'll move that entire group out. Then when I'm going to bring a new group in, I've literally done it where this group moves out into their next tank, and I have the next bag of fish from the store going into that quarantine tank. So as long as the tank is cycled, like I'll move fish in and out the same day. But as to how many, I mean, it's been proven that you can quarantine a lot of fish in a 10-gallon tank. A lot of fish in a 10-gallon tank.
Really?
If
Huh.
you dig into, Corey has one of the most interesting conversations about how much can the tank digest in food wise, and with proper maintenance. But like, if you really, now I know that number one thing people are going to say is, oh, Corey's store has auto water change. That's true. But if you look into his quarantine room, that room, they're doing upwards of 200 plus tetras in one 10-gallon tank.
Yeah.
It's so my quarantine procedures has so much turned from feed to, are they eating? Like, are they at least eating? That's what I need to see.
Well, so
But hopefully
sorry,
that answers your question there, Jay.
one of the things for me, and I think part of the reason why he's asking how many would you put in at a time, because one of the things that's hard for me is shipping, getting fish shipped because I don't drive. So
Mhm.
getting, which was one of the issues that sometimes I have, but one of the things that I have difficulties with is I like getting my fish. I usually get a decent amount of fish shipped to me. But again, a lot of times shipping can be very costly. And so you're buying $50 worth of fish, but then you're also paying like $50 for shipping because
Mhm.
you're doing overnight.
Mhm.
And so for me, to get my money's worth, I want to get a decent amount of fish,
Mhm.
but I also, quarantining is fine. Quarantining with a decent amount of fish, okay. But then putting them in the tanks, I also don't want my tanks to be overloaded all at one time either. So there
So yeah,
is that fine balance. I think that's why he's asking.
but there's another,
Over.
like, can I'll give you an example. Now, this 40-gallon behind me. When we had a friend here in Texas asked me to hold probably 30 fish for him. All 30 fish went into that tank. System did fine. I didn't feed as much as I normally would for a couple days to allow the bio load to catch up to it. But I think adding in a group of fish, like you say, I completely agree with you, getting your money's worth. So let's say when I think you saw the video, Kevin, because I did a members video when I landed like 5 shipments of fish in the same week.
Yeah.
And all of those fish, I had 3 tanks set up for them. But at one point, I put 30 fish into 1 tank. No problems. You know, there's a little bit of, you got to have a little bit of trust that those great little bacteria are doing their job. So it's,
yes.
Yeah, I'll move groups of fish in and out. No problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and to J Rock's question, as long as, I mean, because usually the reason why you might not is because of you want to make sure they're okay. But as long as the fish that you're moving, usually the reason why you're moving fish out of quarantine is because they look good and they don't look like they have any sort of disease or any diseases or anything going on with them. Usually that's why you move them out. So as long as they look fine, I don't see why you can't put in new fish the same day. As long as the fish that you're moving out look fine, you can move new fish in. But I know you probably got to go. So thank you, Trent, for coming on.
Absolutely, you're welcome. Again, thank you for having me here. This was really very enjoyable.
If you guys have not already, go sub to Trent, Weldon Tanks. Rico is almost at his 1K. So if you guys could go there, if you have not already. And so is Steven. So if you guys are not already, go sub to them. And thank you so much, Trent, for coming on.
Yeah, Kevin, this was very enjoyable. So thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me get to share some of my story. And I really want to thank your community for having me. I know I offended a few people with my sniffing, and that's all right. But I enjoy your community. I see a few people I know. I think a few people even subbed to the channel. Hopefully we got to air out some of my past, but I also I appreciate your continued support you've been for me. You're always in my videos. You're always in my live stream. So I appreciate what you do for me, and I appreciate what you do for the hobby in the community itself. So please don't stop what you're doing. You've got a lot of people here that enjoy your company. So again, thank you for having me here. And all the Kevin community, thank you very much. I appreciate it. But it sounds like you're going to keep streaming, right, Kevin?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I know you. So thank you.
I'm going to step out. I'm going to go spend a little bit of time with the wife before I crash for the night. So
thank
you, everybody. And
it's also a lot later there. So thank you for staying up and hanging out with me.
I'm a night owl anyways. This was a perfect reason to stay up. So have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night. All right, Lori, are you actually going to come on and say something? Or is there a reason why you're being shy for once? Because you being shy, I don't know if I can use that word with you. Or at least to describe you.
I'm here. I've been listening. I'm just pretending to be semi-traumatized today because I'm semi-traumatized today. I have 2 or 3 or more Mambuna in my polar blue peacock tank. I have, so far I've counted 7 some sort of cichlid fry. I think they're Kenyas, I'm not sure. It could be red shoulder in my platy tank. And I don't know why my cichlids are taking over the world. because I haven't moved them into any of these tanks. And the only thing I could think of, I mean, they're all mouth brooders. So the only thing I can think of is somehow microscopic fry were spit into the tank when I was moving fish around,
Yeah.
and they decided to grow. So it's just weird. I mean, I just literally sat down, stowaways, and looked into my blue parrot tank, my blue polar blues, and there's 2 Mambuna fries swimming around. And it's like, okay, I did not put the manganos in that tank. So they must have been hiding in the substrate. And this afternoon I sat and looked into the platy tank because I had to cull a couple of platies because they just looked wrong. And I counted 7 of these little cichlid fry. And I mean, I've had enough cichlid fry that I know that these are cichlids and not guppies or platies.
Yep.
I mean, they just don't come in that shape and they're not striped. And rather than running away from them.
I don't think we're doubting whether or not they're cichlids or guppies. But I will have to ask, why are you traumatized?
They're aggressive little mothers. I stuck my hand in a tank. The platies and guppies swim away, and all the little cichlids. That's why I counted so many. They start coming over to check out my hand. And it's like, I thought there was 1, maybe 2. And I counted 7, and that's only in the part of the tank I can see. That's not in the hair algae or the Java moss or, oh, God help us, they're probably in the side of the glow-in-the-dark pirate ship. Because they can go, I didn't put the cannons in, so they could go in and out.
Oh.
So it was just like, oh, God, you'll save me from my trauma, Danny. Actually, I did have a sort of a question for you and Ian. My valve of some sort, and I'm not sure what kind it is, but it's fairly long, so it's probably regular valve. The jewel cichlids ate the tops from. They separated the tops and the roots, and I just threw them into the water in a tank. So can I still take the roots and plant them and hope that they grow, or should I just scrap them all, which I hate to do?
Hey yo.
Hey, a shark! It's a baby shark.
Ian.
The shark eating a baby.
Leo loved being a shark. Good roots, good plant. Okay, because the roots are massive roots. They're really good roots. And I don't want to just
So what happened?
Well, the jewel cichlids managed to separate the leaves from the roots. So I have leaves and I have roots with maybe little stubs of green stuff left on them. So before I went to the trouble of planting all these big giant roots, if they have a good chance for them to grow, I'll plant them. Because where I want to plant them is, I have to get on a ladder to do it. So, not real good and steady on a ladder. So I need to make sure that, there's a fairly decent chance. Yeah, if my doctor knew I was climbing on a ladder, he'd probably fire me from his practice. But, the roots are really nice and healthy and have little green stuff on the top. So I will plant them and hope that they recover.
As
because
long as they have roots and some leaves, you should be fine.
Danny, long 40 years ago, I think it was, I moved into a rental house, and my soon-to-be husband went out and mowed the backyard. And all of a sudden, the entire world smelled like celery. He hit an 8-foot tall celery plant. And it actually broke the blade on the lawnmower. But I just remember walking out into the backyard and like being totally overwhelmed with the smell of celery. And they got taller as you went further into this backyard. And I mean, I've never realized that celery grew that tall. It was kind of scary. Oh, look at the cutie.
Hello, Terry.
How's it going? I actually have a question for Atkins.
Yeah.
All right, 6 foot 125, 3 adolescent green severums, 2 pink-tailed chalceas, and a handful of some type of jeweled cichlid. I forgot which particular one they are. You think if I put about 15 really, really young Tropheus in there, what do you think? You think it's going to turn into pure World War III, or you think they'll just get along?
Well, Terry, I'm going to tell you this. I've never kept Tropheus, but from what I've heard from Pam King is that they're pretty aggressive. And
Well,
they get
yeah, they can be to other Tanganicans, but I have them in with
yeah, they'd be all South American.
Leperinus, Barbs, and Tetras, and they don't seem to bother them at all. It's like they don't bother something that they don't know.
I would try it, Terry, with caution. And I
Oh,
know
yeah. Trust me, I wouldn't be asking. I already know it's with caution. I wouldn't be asking the question.
I think it'd be a good upgrade for him because Tropheus would like that larger footprint.
That sounds really good, Danny.
And is that the 125 right there that we're looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can put 12 Tropheus in there.
I actually have more rock to add to it too. I took some out and moved it to another tank, and now I'm not using the rock in that tank anymore, so the rock's just sitting in a bucket.
Yeah. That pigtail Celsius is big. Both are. Or how many do you have? 3, you said?
No, just 2.
2?
Yeah, and I'm breaking the rules. You're not supposed to have 2 in a tank, but they chase each other around once in a while, but they don't do a whole lot of damage.
They're cool. I saw some at the wet spot. There was like a whole bunch of them in a 6-foot tank. It was awesome in a huge school.
Oh yeah, I'd love to have that. It was 2 was all my local pet shop had, and I never bought any more. And now if I buy some, the size difference will be, you know what I mean? I don't want to put a bunch of young ones with them.
Oh yeah, you gotta find ones the right size. I got these Julio Chromis Ornatus today.
I like them, man. Believe it or not, the 125 we're looking at was supposed to be a Tanganican tank, and I was going to have some like Geludio either, what is that? The one that starts with an M, Mallory or something, or the ones you have. And I was going to have some Tropheus and then maybe one big showfish.
It was actually easy, Bunny Viper. The entire yard was about 8 foot tall with weeds. And I think the whole reason the weeds were so tall is because when the neighbor looked over from his side to find out what the smell and the noise was, he immediately called the police. And the first thing my soon-to-be um, husband did was whip out his receipt and say, "Look, we just rented the house. We haven't grown the 6 foot tall marijuana plants." So the police were kind enough to come, and you got to remember this is like 40 years ago, and totally manicure our entire yard. They brought out lawnmowers, weed eaters, weed whackers, you name it. They trimmed the lemon tree. They did a beautiful job. Of course, we couldn't go in the backyard for the week they were working on it. Um, and I really wish I would have found out before they did, but oh well. Okay, well, anyway, hold on.
So eventually, the long-term goal is to get those Severums out of there, put them in their own like 75. I got some rock keel Severums growing out, but they're too young to put with them.
Oh,
Then I do eventually want the pinktails to go with all my Phenicillus, but I'm trying to grow all the Phenicillus out to a reasonable size so they all don't just kill each other.
what are they?
What?
What is their common name?
Which ones? I was mentioning several different fish.
Penicillus.
No, Phenicillus is a group of fish. There's a bunch of different kinds.
Oh,
I have 2 banded Leperinus in one tank, and I've got 4 strawberry Leperinus in another tank.
Okay.
that's cool. I saw those strawberry Leperinus at the wet spot, and they weren't very expensive. They were like, I think, 15, 16 bucks.
They look really cool.
They do look cool, but I know nothing about them.
They eat the hell out of plants.
Yeah, I am glad I didn't buy those. I don't know if you noticed, but I got it plants in with my Tanganyikan cichlids. Ugh, just took a drink. I got plants with my Tanganyikan cichlids. But I just got them today, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, see how long the plants last.
But I do have plants in with my multis, and I've had my multis for a little bit now, and they're doing fine.
I think it depends on the plant.
Which multis? Or the catfish?
The shell dweller multis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those were my first Tanganyikan. I wanted to see if I could keep those. And then I went to the club today, and I got these Julidochromis.
Wait, where did you go to
I
today?
thought the Greater Portland Aquarium Society club meeting.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I got
Yes,
these
they-
Julidochromis because I
You
thought they'd
exist.
be okay for the multis. And then the multis, they were like, nah, you in the wrong tank. So I had to do some fish swapping, and I got the Julies in their own tank now.
You just have to be careful with fish swapping, or you end up with cichlids that are going to eat all your guppies and platies. And I'm gonna in the polar blue tank.
I've got no mouth breeders.
You haven't noticed.
Are the Julidochromis mouth breeders? Or are they like a rock dwelling kind of spawner?
If I'm thinking of the right fish, the Geludiochromis, the long skinny Tanganikans, like
Yeah.
the Lupi, the Malarai, and the one you have, I keep forgetting, the striped one.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell that fish is. They're mouth breeders.
Mouth brooders? Okay. I didn't know that. Cool, I got a mouth brooding cichlid.
At least I thought they were.
I'll have to do some more research on them.
And the Lupi, I could have swore they were mouth brooding.
And they had some signifers too.
But Danny's saying they're egg guarding, so I could be wrong.
And I also got me a lone tiger barb. I don't know why there was just one big female tiger barb. I think it's a female. Nobody was bidding on her, so I got her for $1.
I know they don't pair off. They don't pair off like like an egg guarding cichlid like South American you would think of.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I got 3 of them though, and they're in 29 gallons. So.
What fish are we talking about?
Some different Lamprologus species. It's just there's so many of them.
Oh yeah.
Was Lamprologus lalupi. That's what I'm looking for.
Walupai.
Oh,
Not too good with my sick.
okay. I'm sorry. Lalupis are Neo-Lamprologus, not Lamprologus.
Oh.
So that could be my mistake right there.
Yeah, I've always seen those blue eyes in the store.
It's a
They look
cave
good.
spawner.
Cave spawner. Cool.
That's why you never see them.
Yeah.
Okay. Ian, I think that's Atkins Nature Aquariums. Because I'm up on panel, apparently I'm going to ask you a question from Lucky Round plant that was in the leftmost foreground of the Julia Chromis tank.
What was the plant?
So what was the spiky round plant in the leftmost foreground of the Julia Chromis tank?
It's Danny's favorite plant. It's a plastic plant. I got a mix of real plants and plastic plants. Okay, that's how you pick them all because you put some real plants in there, some big real plants, then you scatter a little small fake ones just to make them look like real plants.
Don't laugh,
Yes,
man. I
right.
just pulled. Honest to God, over the last 2 days, I probably pulled 10 pounds worth of Vallisneria out of miscellaneous tanks.
What?
And I was like, man, it's way easier to just do like plastic plants.
Give me some of the Vel scenario. I'll have it.
Oh yeah, I'll take some.
If by the time the Vallisneria will get to you, it'll be a brown piece of turd.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fertilizer.
I don't think it'll get past customs. By the time it arrives there, it'll be so bad smelling. It'll be like, damn, this is biochemical warfare.
Believe me, as fast as Vallisneria grows, it's just way easier just to pull it out and throw it away.
And as fast as it grows, it dies fast too.
And trying to separate all the freaking individual plants.
Danny.
All that for a damn Plasticus aquaticus.
I'm trying to figure out whether I'm probably going to bag him tomorrow, but I'm debating whether I'm going to catch him now or catch him tomorrow and then bag him tomorrow and then bag him.
Wait, what are we catching?
Some crabs. I got my bettas in the vases because they were just in quarantine until I shipped them out. So I got those in there. I'm going to change the water tomorrow morning and then put them in the bags. So I got the bettas I need to set, the bettas and the crabs that I need to send out tomorrow. And I'm debating whether I'm going to do it now or tomorrow.
Great. Now Kevin's spreading crabs around.
Ian. For some reason, people want my crabs. I don't know why. You'll have to ask them. I don't know why.
You have a lot of them.
Only 20.
Yeah, Danny, all that for the Plasticus aquaticus.
But I hate having to clean blackbeard algae off of the Plastica aquaticus.
Who said you
Just-
gotta clean it?
Exactly my point too, man. You just throw that crap away and buy new ones.
Yeah, they're so cheap. I mean, I don't even throw them away. I just let it build up, and eventually, after it gets so thick, it just kind of peels off, you know. And then you can put it back in the tank, or the fish
You
will
can
eat it.
also bleach. You can also bleach plastic plants as long as they're not the cheap plastic ones, because they'll get brittle.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question then, Terry. How do you sterilize plant or substrate after using it for something and you want to move it over?
I don't know if I've ever tried.
You don't. You just move it over.
Oh.
You
What
keep
do you
all
guys
that
want yet?
beneficial bacteria. You keep all that moldy crap in there.
I mean, it's a legitimate question. I mean, I just let it dry out.
Yeah, except it stunk. It stunk
Well,
really
then you got to
bad.
clean it.
Yeah, and I'm asking how you sterilize / clean it.
I mean, you can use bleach. You can.
No,
You
because
can-
from what Kenny says, if you use bleach, the bleach will leach into your tank after you bleach it and rinse it out.
You gotta set it. Bleach evaporates. Bleach is chlorine. Chlorine will dissipate over time. I'm not saying add a ton of bleach to wet substrate and then dump it into a tank. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you can bleach it to kill all the organisms that won't smell and then let it dry out. That's what I'm saying.
So let it dry out. Okay. Because yeah, I'd rather not have to just. I don't know.
But fish keepers are really, really afraid of bleach, and you really just got to remember bleach is chlorine. It doesn't stay forever. It evaporates.
Does anyone here have a picture or have any Anubias nana narrowleaf? Because I need a picture for my website and I can't find one.
Lori,
I got a Nubius Nana, I got Nana Round Coin, and I got Nana Petite. And I got
Damn it.
Minimum, but I ain't got that narrowly.
If anyone here has Anubias nana narrowleaf and is fine to take a picture and send it to my email, which is in my channel description, please do, because I need a picture for my website.
Ask Tropica, they'll send you some.
Tropica. Why would
Tropica
Tropica?
Aquarium. Just be like, yeah, I'm trying to do a website blog and need some plants, you know?
Are they that casual?
I don't know, they can be. You just gotta ask. They'll tell you no, or they'll be like, you just want
and John Larson.
Sure.
There are times, Danny and I think a couple other people were asking, why would you want to sterilize? And even Atkins was, why would you want to sterilize a substrate? And if you just want to start over, if you've ever wanted to start from scratch in a tank, there's more than one way to get beneficial bacteria back in a tank that doesn't involve the substrate.
Correct.
If you have substrate that's just infested with hair algae and just miscellaneous other things, and you just want to start over from scratch, that's when you would do that.
Well,
And
sometimes
if you have more than one tank, there's other ways to get beneficial bacteria back in that tank.
Thank you,
Yep.
Danny. I'll definitely try and get something back out to you, like a sticker or something. Like, email's just in the description on my channel. And Stephen, if you're here and you're camera ready and you're not tired and sleep deprived, get on up here.
Why?
Because I want to talk to him in person instead of emailing him.
Got it.
Get on up here, Stephen. Not Stephen. Stephen.
Oh Lord, you know who I saw today and it totally made my day?
Who?
Who?
Lee Wilcox in Father Fish's stream.
Yes, you mentioned that.
That was awesome. I haven't seen him in forever, it feels like.
I must have missed it. I saw Mary Page and
I will, Danny. See if you can get a photo by tonight if you can, if you're up to it.
there was a couple people that came up, but
Nice, clear, high quality, please.
I wasn't paying attention seeing Lee Wilcox. But I was in and out too, so.
Oh, Bunny, tomorrow I'm sending out the stuff, so I hope you're ready to send me a video or a photo of whatever you're putting them in, because I really want to see it.
Oh, that's right, Danny. Just when you can. Penny, I'm not trying to bug him. I just want to talk to him in person instead of just sending emails, because I always talk in chat or something. I've actually haven't talked to him in person. But if he's not up to it, it's fine. I don't expect him to come up.
Can you do long distance calls?
Is there even a long distance thing anymore?
Yes, you can get
No.
calling cards.
I don't know.
Well,
Um,
cell phones.
I'm able-
No, you got to have an international card,
Yeah,
or
that's
your
what-
phone has to be set up internationally. But with the internet now, is there really such a thing as long distance?
I'm able to call my brother in Poland.
How?
I call him on the weekends at 9 a.m. It's usually
Using-
I just use my phone. The phone number that I have saved in his contact that I've always had.
How much does it cost?
Send me an email, Danny.
Honestly,
See
my
if you
phone
can-
bill doesn't change. It's always been the same. But we don't talk for very long. I mean, we talk for like 30 minutes, and that's it every week.
Hey, Penny. What's wrong with Stephen's face?
Patty, I love that. All right, so what the heck? Why are you so quiet tonight, Lori? Oh, she probably.
Yeah, I haven't heard.
Why do I feel like Patty's the female version of Andrew Dice Clay?
No idea.
Oh,
Hey, Captain Savage.
because everybody's talking, so I'm just sitting
Just
here
let it-
listening to people talk.
Fair enough.
And now nobody's talking.
I think
Yeah.
Adele got streaming in like 10 minutes. I'm pretty sure.
I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, you guys are what? It's like 2 or something over there. Some
It's only-
ridiculous
No,
hour.
it's only midnight.
It's
It's only midnight.
It's
It's
not.
11 p.m.
There.
It's
For me,
9
it's
a.m. 9 p.m. Sorry. Wow.
Yeah, it's 10 p.m. here. That's not bad.
Yeah,
I'm
but
11.
Kevin, you shouldn't be awake at 12.
But I have to get up at 4.
I don't go to
Dude.
bed. I don't go to bed. I go to bed at like 1-ish.
Kevin, you need your
That's
sleep.
because you don't have a job.
Oh.
But he's got
Yeah.
school.
I gotta get up at 6 for work.
I gotta get up at whenever because I have to get a COVID test because I've got a sore throat and symptoms and blah blah blah. And my school won't let me go to school until I get a COVID test.
What do? Every 2 weeks get a COVID test?
No, I'm just sick, and there's been cases now where we are. So I'm obviously in boarding. So the guy said, or the people at my school said, no, you have to have your COVID test and wait until you get your results back until you can come back to school and make sure you're feeling well. So yeah, I'm basically going to be chilling at home for this week. So I'm going to be able to tune into each of the streams, which is going to be fun.
Yeah, but you don't have to like go to
Where's
school
the
via
homework?
the internet. The teachers don't
Oh,
check in
Kevin!
with you guys.
Kevin Stevens at backstage, put him up now. He's here. Steven's here. He should be here.
Yeah, I don't know. Do I want to let him up? I don't know. Let's see.
Kevin?
Steven, hey you.
Yeah. Steven's
I'm up here for Patty. Patty, you look at this face. You look at this face, and then you try to sleep. You can't.
Forget sleep,
Love
Patty.
you
That's
too.
not gonna happen.
Sweet dreams. Sweet dreams, Patty.
I don't know. It's actually kind of freaking me out now.
Go to bed, Patty. What are you doing, Patty?
When
What are you doing, Patty?
Are you gonna put him up on solo screen for the effect too?
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my god. This is hilarious.
Oh, let's go widescreen too. There we go. Hey, Patty. What are you doing, Patty?
Oh my god.
You ready for your beauty sleep, Patty?
Oh my god.
Oh shoot!
All right, maybe I'll show some fish now.
Yes, fish. Fish, fish, fish.
And there we go.
I was stunned at how tall you are, Steven.
Then again,
Really?
aquatic stickers.
What's amazing is that Steven is about the same height as same build as my son. And Leo wanted to growl at him. And my son says, "Oh, he's just never seen anybody like me." And I said, "No, he saw a lot of people like you at the fish convention. So I don't understand why he's growling." Now, if you were skinny and little, maybe, because he did actually growl at somebody at Aquashella.
Good to hear, Danny Wish. Fishman child. That's my new name, apparently. Wow. That is so pretty. I want that right now.
It's like iridescent turquoise.
Yeah.
I
With
need.
a,
It's a
Why
nice
can't
beta.
we get them in New Zealand? We're literally allowed betas, and we can't get anything like that. That costs like $100 over here. 120 probably.
Dang.
Wow.
Well, I'm gonna have to sell my beta in Australia. What the hell?
Yeah. And your pea puffers if you have any, because those go for like $200.
I'll take a figure eight puffer if you have any.
so the move is we need to start selling pea puffers, Senegal bichers, and bettas over in Australia.
No, and figure eight
yeah.
puffers. But like
Now you just
high
got to figure out how to
quality
get them there.
I want some candy coys and some
Well-
beta uppy.
I mean, all you got to do is watch the documentary Cocaine Cowboys, and you'll figure it out.
Oh, yeah. Just tuck several hundred pounds of fish into the cargo of a small plane. You're good to go.
Danny, how? I
mean,
don't
it
get
ain't
it.
like Australia ain't got a bunch of like unmanned airstrips.
Hey, Lori, you want to tell how you did it? I'm joking.
Wait, what?
Nothing, I'm just teasing.
Shut up.
Thank you.
Lori, what are you hiding?
Here, I can give Cherry an aneurysm right now.
I'm not always.
Steven, you
Yeah,
already did, actually.
I'm not daisy
Good
chaining
God,
power
man.
strips anymore, but I just got these racks and tanks and stuff set up. Everything is in flux, and so yeah, the wiring is a rat's nest right now.
They make
I-
things called tie wraps, dude.
That
Yeah, I got
Steven,
some.
the only
coming
thing
from
I'm worried
Amazon.
about is that bottle of Prime. What if that's
That's
is that
empty.
empty? Oh,
Yeah, it's
thank
empty.
God. That looks
What do
like
you want
that
to do?
looks
Throw
like
it away? Jeez.
Yeah, don't get pushy, fish kid.
Fish kid, I gotta say, you are demanding. You're like, Steven, get up here. Hey, someone send me this narrow leaf Anubias. And then
Throw
Danny's
that
like the only
damn bottle
person who
away.
has it. And then you're like, Danny, give it to me by tonight. Like, God, chill, man.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'll shut up now.
No, it's not a killie, Patty. It is antler hybrid thingy. Guppy, whatever the hell you can call it.
Oh no, we're not getting into that discussion.
Hybrids, man.
What is that crit?
They're guppies. They're all guppies.
They are not all
This
the.
crypt,
Yeah,
it's
crypt.
one that that one. Yeah, I got that from LRB. God, I'm trying to remember the name of it because it was not
Rosen
a
Maiden?
crypt that I was familiar with.
Crypt
See if I got
Rosen
the.
Maiden? Is it Crypt
Could
Rosen
be. I
Maiden?
got 3 of them from him. Or the Affinis crypt, for all I know. I got different
Were
ones
they-
from him. I got 3.
Were they really expensive?
One of them was 5, one was 10, one was 20.
The one that was 20 is probably Cryptocorin Rosen Maiden. Because that was the one that was like $20 for that crypt.
You guys just like
Well.
saying cryptocorny.
Cryptocorny. It's a cryptocorine. Yeah, I don't think this. I think this was like the $10 one, and I think this one back here on the light on. I think that was the $20 one. I had the names written down somewhere because I knew I would forget them, and I did.
Knowing you, Steven, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you already forgot them.
Crypts are nice.
Yeah, I forgot them the minute I bought them. Yep, I like me some crypts. And then this tank back here that I haven't done anything with, I gotta figure out what I want to do with it. This fluval chi with this stupid light and filter that are all on one wire, so you can't turn off the light automatically. I use this switch. I'll probably do shrimp though. Maybe even Caradina, since I got this stratum in here. Did a pretty good job of stripping out all the carbonate
Why
from
do
my
you,
water.
wait, why are you doing that?
Why do we get any freaking fish, Kevin? Why do we do any of this?
No, I'm asking why you put stratum in that tank. What are you trying to do with that tank? Is there something specific you're doing with that tank? Or you want to have
Well, the story goes, I was in Aquashella. I sent Jenna a...
Really?
Yeah, let me finish my goddamn story, Kevin. Thank you. Okay. I was at Aquashella, and I had some drinks, and I had some bettas, and I was like, I need to get some tanks, so I told Jenna to go buy some tanks. And she sent me links to ones, and I'm like, oh, the Fluval Chi looks good. I didn't do any research on it. Didn't realize the glass was tinted and then had this stupid-ass filter on it. So, yeah. And then I was like, go get some substrate. She's like, which substrate? And I'm like, just whatever you like, because I didn't think she would pick stratum, but she did. Because we don't have stratum. And so I just got to figure out what to do with a thing that strips the carbonate from the water, and I think Caradina's is probably the answer. It could, it'd be fine with a betta too, but I don't really like it for a betta. The lighting is not good.
So it'll only last for like 9, maybe 12 minutes. The stripping.
And then it'll stop stripping out the carbonate.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point then. That might not be feasible. I'll figure it out. I'll do something with it.
Yeah, I've been using stratum, and like over a year or so, it kind of just stops pulling stuff out of the water. But it's still a good plant substrate.
I think any media, if you're trying to pull carbonate out of water, eventually it's going to get exhausted.
Yeah.
Hey, Adele, are you going soon? Did you want to go now, or are you going to wait till I'm done? Which I don't know when that'll be.
Your cat litter will strip all the minerals from your water. You turn it to RO, basically.
I thought kitty litter
artificial
was
rack. What the hell?
Yeah, I'm a little confused by chat in several different directions.
Part of, I guess these aren't the right racks for someone's sensibilities, but guess what? They work. So yay.
Yeah, with the price of wood right now, I mean, is it even worth
I
trying to
swear to
build a
God, I
rack?
paid.
No, it's actually Atkins wood is going back down to halfway normal. That's why I
Halfway
actually
normal.
started. I started buying wood again. Yeah, it's back down to relatively close to where it was before the pandemic. At least in my area, wood is a regional product, so yeah, there's that.
It's still like $10 for a piece.
For a piece of what?
2x4, 8 foot.
Wow, 8 foot pine 2x4. $10.
Yikes.
That's a little on the pricey side, unless it's one of the
And
premium.
that's right now. Last year, 8 foot 2x4 was $30.
Yeah, I know. It got crazy there for a while. It was insane.
And I was just in the middle of starting to get everything to build a rack. Like I've
It,
got,
it, it got to the point where I was thinking about taking down all my stuff and selling the boards.
yeah, I've got 4 2x4s, 8 foot.
No,
And I've been
no.
well, they're cats.
Selling.
How are you?
Yeah, I've got four
No.
2x4s.
What we got?
8 foot.
Zippy
And I've
what?
been-
Hey, Mississippi hippie, I saw a little bit of your stream today.
Hey, look at
Nice
that.
seeing you.
Yeah, I've got 4 2x4s.
What we got?
How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Hey, Mississippi hippie, I saw.
That's
Somebody's
a-
got.
Hey,
Hey,
look at that. Turn off the
mute your
YouTubes.
How y'all doing?
Hey Patty, I just saw your question. The beta does not bother the those guppies, but you got to test it with individual betas.
Wait. So you said you had stratum in that tank?
Hey Patty, I just saw your question. The beta does not bother the.
Did that fix it?
I think it did now.
Better
I
now?
think so. I think we're good.
If not, we know how to fix it.
Sorry.
No, I think you're good now. And
Ha!
I'm using my YouTube page. Does the same
Awesome.
chat
Yeah.
come on the StreamYard page?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't figure that out earlier. And I'm like trying to look through my bifocals, tilting my head all up and showing everybody up my nose.
There's a huge reason Danny Weshy and I get along. There's a ginormous reason, and one of the reasons is he can quote Monty Python just as good as anybody.
I
We
think I
demand a shrubbery.
I watched Monty Python once. Which how is there a way to if somebody's hidden on a channel, is there a way for me to unblock them?
Yes,
How?
and it's a huge, ginormous pain in the.
Yeah, it's buried deep in some settings somewhere.
How?
It depends on how you blocked them. If you blocked them just on the channel, or if you blocked them through
No, actually,
Google
just tell
Chrome.
Matt
It-
to
it-
unblock him.
YouTube it, because it gets.
He
Trust
can't.
me, I had a guy blocked, and it took me probably a week to figure out how to unblock him. Because it turns out he was blocked on because I use Chrome as my browser setting. So when I blocked him on YouTube, it also blocked him on Chrome.
Really?
So yeah, you're gonna have to like YouTube it, because it takes a little bit of doing.
And unless he's typed something in, which you can't right now, Lori, there's no way to do that.
Okay.
Dang, look at all that Bacopa.
Because you can't type in anything right now.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's why
This
I'm trying.
Bacopa is bulletproof. It grows without effort in every tank I put it in.
What does?
This Bacopa Carolinia.
Oh,
It looks nice.
It's an yeah, and if your light is high enough, it starts to get like a nice bronze orangish color at the top. This is just a holding tank.
I've always liked how it looks when it's like a short kind of bunch of them, and they all start to come up as one. They look really cool like that.
And this is like Hygrophila corymbosa compacta. So it stays really bushy like this.
It'll get bigger than that. Give it time.
Yeah, it's growing taller in some of them, but it's slow going, so it's not a big pain to trim it back.
Yeah, it doesn't really grow as tall, but it'll grow really big, thick.
Okay, I might dip to Adele's stream by the sounds of it, because I think she's live.
Yeah, you better not tell her to be throwing away shit either, man, because she'll get mad at you.
is she going right now?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think she is live.
Anyways, Mississippi Hippie, it was nice seeing your stream. I thought it was pretty good for what I caught of it. I was in and out during it, but I thought it was pretty cool.
I was nervous and I kept moving all over the place and stuff, but it was first time, so.
Nah, you'll get better at it as you move along. Trust me.
Yeah, I just hope I didn't bomb too awful bad.
All right, I'm popping
Was
off.
your first time on a stream was whenever I like ambushed you during my stream at Aquashella?
Yes.
No, I was kind of expecting something like that to happen, man. There were cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, so it was cool. It was all good. That kind of broke the ice and kind of made me go, well, I guess I might as well, maybe, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
Thank you. No
All
more
right.
to do.
Yeah, it's nice having you on here. Thanks, Mississippi Hippie, for coming up.
Okay, thanks.
And I'm
for
glad
having
you.
me.
And I'm very.
Oh,
See
And
my
I'm
bully baby.
oh, absolutely beautiful.
God, I thought somebody just got stabbed.
Oh, you should have brought that one up, Aquashella.
I'm working on
Right.
a logo. I have this client who's been bugging me. And I looked up and I saw a puppy.
People are scared of just her size.
Oh, they're so sweet.
Well, yeah, she don't know how to be anything else but a spoiled rotten baby.
I love the silver and white.
All right.
Oh, pretty.
Does somebody mind putting Adele's link in chat so we can go over there soon? Because I think she's going now. And if she's going, then I'll end.
Yeah, she's going. And I'm going to hop down and probably start trying to go to sleep. So
Yeah, you.
thanks for having me up, Kevin.
Thanks, Steven.
Night, Steven.
Nice talking to you, Steve.
Y'all too. Later.
Good night, Steve.
Thanks, Steven.
Hi, Steven.
All right, let's put this.
You know what'd be a funny prank to do on Steven?
What?
If we ever get to see his tanks in person, we just go hide a fake plastic plant in one of the corners of his tanks.
Oh yeah. like some decent looking ones, the small
Yeah.
decent looking ones, and just hide them in the back.
Yep. See how
That's a
long it
good
takes.
idea, man.
All right.
Then you'd be on a stream and somebody go, "Hey, what's that plant in the back?" That's a really damn good idea, man.
If anybody, if anybody would like to go over to Dell Stream, I believe it's in chat, and I'm gonna end it now because I'm gonna go do a few things before going to bed. Probably start some brine shrimp going, and then a water change and go to bed. Thank you everyone for coming, and go over to COCs and have a great night. Thanks everyone.
Hey, Adkins, sometime soon, you and we got to hang out online for a little while.
Oh heck yeah.
Yeah, man. I'll try to come up. I usually come up on the streams when I can.
Okay, and then Sherry, you and I can hang out.
All
Get rid
right.
of all
Oh,
these
no.
guys.
Mississippi hippies hanging out here with the cool kids.
Thank you guys. Have a great
I
night,
was
everyone.
teasing.
All right.
And
See you guys all later. I'm out.
hope everybody has a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks everyone.